be. And if they get off to a good start, like we saw last time, they might be able to surprise Giants and still win the game. And we, of course, have to say we are on 5.4 now. Veigar and Zillion, was it? Not Zero. Zillion has been disabled after the reworks. But everything else is enabled. Also DJ Sona.
Yes.
You were so hyped about.
We might get to hear some tunes spinning on the Rift a little bit later, but we won't get to see that Jwaow Aurelia. He had quite the day on it. That is focused out by Giants Gaming. They banned the Ahri as well. And of course, no surprises, MeetYourMakers. They take away Werlyb's signature Jax once again, and then Rek'Sai.
Really been one of the stories for both these teams. How if one guy suddenly stands out on a champion, you can easily just ban it next week because you don't have to worry about other picks. So Jax has always been banned against Werlyb, and now Aurelia against Jwaow after one good performance. Well, okay, let's ban the way because there's nothing else we're really afraid of. From MeetYourMakers, nobody's been stand out on anything. So fairly easy for the two teams to at least target ban. And the Rek'Sai 5.4, as we said before, Jarvan has received quite a nerf, I think we can say. Lost all the armor on his E, so he's no longer as contested, which means Rek'Sai is like tier 1. You can maybe add Nidalee up there with her. And then you get to Lee Sin. Yeah, then you drop down to like tier 2 where the remaining junglers.
Yeah, exactly. And really some focus on the mid after the Aurelia ban too. The Zed's banned away. Kori's had quite a lot of mid bans targeted at him throughout the splits. They've kind of sprinkled in just about every pick ban phase. So that's really not surprising once again. And I want to see what the first pick is here for MeetYourMakers. That's always the big question.
So Nidalee, yeah, seeing that they have the Rek'Sai ban would make a lot of sense. You get now the second best jungler, at least here in Europe. Lissandra otherwise is going to be even more contested. Now you don't have to worry about Kassadin as a first pick. Not saying that Kassadin would beat the Lissandra. It's more you don't have to think about, oh, do you want to get Kassadin over Lissandra? What's the trade-off here? No, because Kassadin is pretty much gone in professional League of Legends. I wouldn't assume to see him for a while.
His Riftwalk is a little bit more of a tiptoe step.
So basically, Lissandra gets a bit more value as a first pick. But Nidalee in this game, simply because Rek'Sai is banned and Jarvan, as we mentioned before, has been changed and nerfed here in 5.4.
Yeah, and you know, this will be the first game we'll get to see Horo on Nidalee too. He hasn't actually pulled it out yet in this split, so I'm curious to see what he makes of this champion.
It would be a champion that should fit him because he's a very aggressive jungler. He's often the carry on MeetYourMakers. He has the second highest kill participation in the EU LCS on the worst team. Really shows how he's part of everything they do, and getting him on a jungler where he can make plays early on and snowball, I think that's the best you can do. So I think it's a really smart first pick.
Yeah. The Giants over on their side, they've answered with the Annie pickup, as well as the LeBlanc for Pepinero. And, you know, they did find one win on it. He always has an explosive score. He tends to die a lot on that champion. I mean, on a lot of champions, but still, that does seem to be his flashiest play, and I think it's kind of a preference here.
It is the Giants' play style. You need Pepinero on a champion where he can make plays. And if you do get a gank, if you gank for him early on and give him like a lead in his lane, he will be able to snowball it, but we don't see it very often. LeBlanc, I feel like, still is one of his best champions. Even when he's behind, he tries to make some flashy plays, which is very good for Giants, and one of the reasons they can try and come back in games because people get surprised. Oh, Pepinero is standing at my red buff 30 minutes in. That doesn't make any sense. I just died for it, and now we gave up a dragon.
Yeah, and he takes those serious risks, too. You remember his item build? He had the, when he fell a little bit further behind it, I can't recall exactly the game he builds the, he goes ahead and builds the Medjay Soul Stealer, and it actually paid off quite well for him in a while, if I recall correctly. Let's see what they do on the other side. MeetYourMakers, they do lock in the Leona. This is not Nisbeth, of course, but there is a Corki lock-in as well for MrRalleZ, who had also a pretty monster game on that last week.
He did. MrRalleZ really stepped up in the game. Go back to the MrRalleZ we saw last year. He's not really been performing. It's been tough for him and the rest of the MYM guys in this season. But you can change your support. Clearly, you do not change your support pick. Leona, once again, they played it 7 times with Nisbeth, by far the most played support for them. Not to use the meme or anything, but it was just the most played support. And it's always been a good pick into Annie, because in the 2-on-2 laning phase, especially once you hit level 6 on Leona, Annie is fairly mobile. She can't burst you down, so you can engage on her every time, and you can set up some very easy TP ganks or jungle ganks, kill that Annie, get a dragon, get a tower, whatever it is. Use that to really get a lead early. So I quite like the pickup, and no real surprise from MYMs yet. Very standard picks for them.
Yeah, on the side of Giants. They're going to take the Jarvan. Yeah, again, he's been nerfed a little bit. I still feel like he's probably fairly high in contention and comfort level for a jungle like Frederick. On the other hand, you've now got the Ezreal lock-in. We've actually seen played more mid than really on AD carry, and I want to see what Adryh makes of it.
That's a new one. never really been the biggest fan of Ezreal mid here in Ezreal AD carry, sorry, here in Europe. We have seen a few teams pull off the Ezreal mid lane, but it's normally been a pick used in China or in Korea.
It's true.
Sorry, especially from the likes of Faker. We're gonna have to see what Adryh can do. He's been really, together with Pepinero, the two carries for Giants. It used to be Werlyb in the start, but then he got banned out and he never really managed to show up on any other champion. So the focus has gone away from him and more onto the bottom lane and the mid lane from them with Frederick early on with the ganks. And that really has been one of the reasons Giants can get a lead early. Problem is then what happens with the shot calling once they move into the mid game, once they have to fight around objectives, rotations. That's where they're lacking behind still. But I feel like for every week they do play and practice, they should get better and better because they keep noticing what mistakes they make and can learn from that.
In theory, we'll see how it goes. Adryh did play that Ezreal once. This split, it wasn't particularly effective. A lot of the AD carries haven't been. I want to see how this one does match up. On the other side, MeetYourMakers, they go ahead and round out their composition. They've got the Lulu, and that is going to be a mid lane Lulu.
Yeah, counter pick.
Unless they do any really serious trickery. But yeah, and then of course the top lane Jwaow on the Gnar. So we'll see how he does with that champion as Giants Gaming look to finish their one. They have really taken their time about this. So you can think Giants are really thinking much more strategically, I think, about their pick and ban phase than we've typically seen from them.
That's true. It's still missing the top lane for them, but MYM on their side. Lulu counterpick to LeBlanc in lane is nearly impossible for LeBlanc to kill her. So you can basically shut her down and make sure she doesn't snowball in that case. And then you have a comp with different options, I would say. There's quite a lot of pick potential through the Nidalee Leona together, even Lulu to speed up a target. Also a fairly good team fight if you do manage to get the proper engage and you can have like a Mega now jumping in with the Lulu ulti. But I think for MYM's side, it's going to be a bit more about trying to catch off Giants. And also, of course, kiting. When you have a Lulu, it always suddenly involves a lot of kiting, but that's where the Leona doesn't fit in at all, and then there's a bit of a mismatch in their comp. But I mean, they do have a lot of poke. Nidalee, Corki together, Lulu, disengage. That works great. And if a target does drop low, then Leona can go in.
Exactly, and not only that, you know, the Gnar transformation timing, if they can sort that the way that they want to, the whimsy, the speed up, they do have a lot of ways to get into a fight as well as keep themselves safe from afar. And again, MYM is this team that typically has a fantastic pick and ban phase. They develop really good compositions, but they don't always deliver on them.
No, that's very true. Very true. As Jwaow said, they like to pick comfort picks because they all want to show what they can do. Here in the last few games, they all want to be the carry to win for MYM and get them out of the auto-relegation. And in this case, there's a lot of individual champions here where they can snowball. I mean, we have seen a Gnar go crazy before. Nidalee, of course, for Horo, one of the best early game junglers we have in the game. And we have seen this Leona from them so many times, despite it not really fitting the comp in this game.
Yeah, we'll see how it works this time around. And as we load up into the game, let us know if you think MeetYourMakers can successfully fight off the relegation to the Challenger Series by tweeting at LOL Esports with your hashtags MYM win or GIA win. We'll check on those results. But the crowd is amped up. We're going on to the Rift. It's the start of Week 7 here in Europe. Let's see how it goes.
A lot of nerves in this game. For Giants' side, if they do lose, suddenly MYM is only one game behind them, and they are tied 1-1. Definitely not the situation you want to be in. For Giants, they said when they came into this split, we just want to stay in the LCS. We have no playoff goals. We don't want to come in here and suddenly beat the top teams. No, we just want to stay in the LCS, learn as much as possible, and be here for next split as well. And then suddenly we can start aiming higher in the table, where MYM used to be a fairly hyped up team before we had all these problems, where Kori suddenly was out for a few weeks, and they've now changed support for the 5th time in a year. Noxiak coming in instead of Nispet, and obviously Jwaow for MYM. So for MYM, it's been a mess.
One thing after another.
Yeah, there's always been a problem, a new problem coming in for them, and now they've just lost so many games, and it's looking so hard for you to get out of that auto-relegation zone that you simply start thinking more about yourself than your team.
And that's what Jwaow said in the interview. That's typically what they do in the picks. It's very surprising to actually hear that the compositions seem to work fairly well together. It's kind of changed up a little bit in recent weeks. On the other hand, Giants, this is kind of proving for them that they still can keep themselves out of that dangerous territory. They do need this win. Obviously, both teams, it is a must-win. But for Giants, realistically, if they can't grab it here, they could be in some trouble.
For sure. You have to be able to beat MYM. Otherwise, you are in trouble in the LCS. And For Giants side, they have been getting better.
That's true. Week to week.
If we ignore week 1, where of course where everything worked for them, week 2, week 3, they got destroyed in their games. There was no early game, there was no mid-game, late game, nothing. But they've slowly been picking it up. Rydle talked a lot about how he needs to roam. He needs to learn when to roam around and help out, let's say, Pepinero in the mid lane, or apply pressure with his jungler, get some deep wards in. It's a thing he's been getting better at. And we see, of course, Frederick. He's always been a very active jungler early. This time around, Noxiak want to try and stop a blue off, but he's just going to spot it, get the timer on it, so they know it has been taken by Giants. They, of course, swapped to the top side, which always makes it somewhat risky for you to start on the opposite side of the map where your dual lane is, because if you do get invaded on, suddenly there's 4 guys from MYM killing you at your blue buff. But in this case, because it's just a support showing, it does mean they can take a blue buff and just trade it with, or well, just actually standard start for the jungle.
Exactly, and both the supports go ahead and get the roam, so they know exactly what's up. There is that deep ward in there to sense the start of this one. But yeah, apart from the lane swap, pretty standard, no trickery here around the way. And the jungle buddy system coming into effect is now you see them separating on the side of Giants. Peppy trying to push Kori back in the middle, but you know, nothing really strange to start this one off, and I think that's pretty much to be expected with these two teams right now.
Yeah, that's very true. Really a lot of things on the line, so you don't want to risk getting in a disadvantage at level 1 by walking into someone in the jungle and just getting first blooded. On MYM's side, and this has really been a problem for both these teams. The lane swaps has not been working out. So in this case here, MYM, they didn't freeze the bottom lane. And they're not sending down anyone to zone away the Maokai either. So they allow Werlyb to just walk into the lane, get 3 waves of XP, a little bit of farm as well, hit level 3 for him now, and there's no response. Normally what you would do is either you take your own red buff at level 1 with your jungler, let's say your top laner, you do like 1 or 2 camps, you get level 2, and then you instantly rush to the lane where the Maokai is going to show up because you're not freezing the wave. And then when he goes down to the tower to pick up all this farm, you just go and kill him. Either you kill him or you zone him away, because he's only going to be level 2 at this point. You have a Leona who's fantastic at diving on, locking down a target, can even take a few hits and then flash away. In this case, they didn't do it, and then you should have frozen the lane and just try and deny farm from the Maokai. Instead of giving him 13 CS already, gonna hit level 4 as well fairly soon. Kori,
yeah,
let's see if he's in trouble though.
Trouble. They do land the stun. Noxiak is here. They don't quite have enough damage. The spear's gonna come in as Horo moves his way in. Looks like it could have been a 3v3, but both decide non-aggression is the better way to start the game. No first bloods here. Kori's gonna actually hang out in lane.
Still staying. He has the potions to sustain himself. Bit of a farm lane for him against the LeBlanc. All about staying alive, get some good trades. When LeBlanc jumps in, this is going to happen all game long, by the way. Whenever LeBlanc tries to go in and kill a target, you're going to whimsy her instantly. And then suddenly she's not able to distortion back, and you can basically kill her from there. Let's see what MYM can do in the bottom lane. The Werlyb went aggressive. Now he might be in trouble.
Yeah, they're actually going to pop the heal. A little bit of speed up too. There we go. Lands the Zenith Blade. Here comes MrRalleZ. Werlyb is burning away. Do they have the damage? A pair of flashes burn. They really want this first blood, and they're going to get it. It goes to Noxiak, though.
Love the player, though, from him. He deserved this one. He was the guy coming down from the mid lane. Notice how he delayed his E, the Zenith Blade. He just waited, and then he predicted the flash, so he followed and managed to stay on the Maokai, pick up the first blood for him. Werlyb not respecting the fact that Leona could show himself. Once he had pushed out the lane, he was all alone on the bottom side. No wards being placed for him, and therefore he ends up dying.
And we can already see the effects of the support swap for MeetYourMakers here, even if it's on the same champion. Now Kori, he's in some serious troubles. He gets locked up by the chains, and thanks to a little bit of help from Frederick, Pepinero is going to look for a revenge kill in the middle.
Classic Giant setup though. Frederick ganking for his mid laner Pepinero. This is the first blood or early kill we talk about. The Giants love to put on Pepinero when he plays these assassins. So he's the guy who can now snowball and really start picking off people left and right. And that's also great setup when you have this double CC, chain from LeBlanc into like a knock-up from Jarvan or the other way around. Unless you flash one of them, as soon as the engage happens, well then you die this early in the game.
Yeah, and you can see how mobile MYM are around this to try and cover their bases. They brought not only Horo, but also Noxiak, who's really been all over the map trying to stop this one. Frederick's actually going to realize there could be a little bit of a problem here. Swag flags his way out as Noxiak still on the chase, gets slowed up, however, by the sapling moving back into the bottom lane. MrRalleZ, though, has been doing pretty fine on his own.
Yeah, one of the things about the Corki, and one of the reasons so many teams consider Corki one of the best AD carries, is just his ability to hold his own in a lane, especially after level 6. He can farm so well. even in a 2v1 situation, he will get most of the wave and also prevent you from taking the tower. In this case, it's obviously just a one-on-one against the Maokai. And the reason MYM is happy now just giving Werlyb farm is because Jwaow is getting the same in the top. So they're basically just trading farm on the two top laners here, and instead trying to make plays around the mid lane. But the first battle was won by Giants with the kill onto Kori.
As the linchpin of their strategy is always to try and get Pepinero in a good spot. Now the Dragon is actually being started up between Rydle and Frederick. Do they have the damage, though? That is the question. MYM ping in this one. They are well aware of it happening. Werlyb is going to take the slow path in and lend a leaf, or so it would seem. Arcane smash down. There we go. Horo going to get the ward out on. Does he want to try and attempt the steal? It would be a little bit hairy. Throws in the spear. It's intercepted, however, by Rydle, and the smite down is going to secure the first Dragon for Giants Gaming.
Yeah, MYM not in a position to really respond, and also what often happens when there is a kill in the mid lane so early, especially on the likes of LeBlanc. Oh, Kori.
Yeah, he's locked up. He already threw down the wild growth, and Rydle's still in mid lane. A lot of roaming supports to start this game.
It is the lane swap, just a one-on-one AD carry top lane in the side lanes, allows the supports to roam. But what happens so often when the likes of LeBlanc or Zed gets an early kill is they're going to have all the pressure in the lane suddenly because they have the kill pressure on you, and that allows you as a team to make more aggressive plays on the map because you know your mid lane is stronger than the other teams, and he can roam down and join you, and suddenly the other team has to just sit back and say, okay, fair enough. We don't want to risk fighting you, especially because we don't want to risk checking in onto Pepinero or a flashing Rydle.
Yeah, once again, the chain's not going to connect the spear. Rydle's still looking for the damage, but he's actually going to get turned away himself. And in comes the kitty. Horo comes up with one. Can he get another here? Pepinero flashing Noxiak. They pop the Mimic, but Adryh's here, turning their attention onto the AD carry now. And here comes Gnar. Jwaow out of nowhere. Adryh is on the run away, but can he get away? Noxiak in hot pursuit. Here comes Frederick the flash in, the flag in. Noxiak, he's getting smited down. Here comes Peppy, is going to not get the kill. It goes over to Frederick. They chase very deep, and it ends up being a 1-for-1.
And again, so much action here in this mid lane. The side lanes, they just left on their own. Everyone roams to the mid. It was Rydle who started by flashing over the wall, and then suddenly MYM turned it around, killed him first, and then they kept chasing, allowing Giants to collapse onto them from multiple sides and then pick up a return kill. But so many things happening around the mid lane. Still, one kill for Pepinero. Frederick got this one for himself, while Kori did manage to pick up anything other than assist for him.
Yeah, and you can really see how that's translated into an item difference. The needlessly large rod very early picked up by Pepinero. You can see that Kori just recently got the chalice finished. Or rather, the little chalice.
There. Well, that is a chalice.
That's true.
Their themes, but yeah.
It's just not the bigger one.
Not the bigger one, not the important one, but Pepinero getting that large rod. Talk about it after, because another attempt on the bottom lane.
Yeah, Werlyb, as tanky as he's going to be, is it going to be enough? It looks like for now, they don't want to pursue into the eventual Maelstrom, and they do back away, but he's going to have to take the blue pill back to base. Or the slow walk, either way.
Oh, not sure what he was expecting here.
He went very
Maybe
far
Horo
back.
could have shown up. But what we see now from LeBlanc, normally if she got a start like this, normally I say if we go a few months back when DFG was still in the game, she would pick up a large rod and you would say, okay, that's going to be first item DFG. She's just going to walk around one-shotting people. Now you still get the large rod if you have 1600 gold. You just get Morellonomicon before you complete it into like a death cap from the LeBlanc side, because you want that extra AP first
or
of all.
Or
whatever it is, yeah. But you want that large rod if you have 1600 gold, because it gives you so much early damage. But you still want to complete your Morellonomicon before you get the death cap. Otherwise, you don't really use the passive too well either. You want that mana regen, you want that cooldown reduction as well from the Morellonomicon.
Absolutely. A lot of pings flying. The MeetYourMakers side, they try to get a little bit of more map control down by the Dragon Pit, but there won't be a Dragon for a while. Rydle, a big spear, takes a huge bite out of his health bar. He's got to be careful.
We can see Horo has been adapting the Chinese-Korean jungle Nidalee style, where you go tier first, and Kori, well, let's see if he can survive.
Yeah, he's trying to be as big as he can, but in the end, Pepinero is going to pick him up yet again. 2-0 now on this LeBlanc. And going back to your point, though, I do think this is an interesting Nidalee build. So far, it's worked for Horo for some serious early damage. Yeah,
so basically, this is what we have seen in China and Korea from jungle Nidalee. You go back and you get a tier extremely early. It should be your first item completed, and you just start stacking it so early on. This spear here, well, this is not the tier, obviously, because it actually makes you weaker early on, because you got to stack it, only gives you mana. No other real combo stack, but it's better later once it's fully stacked. And I mean, when you get 2 spears, and
you can keep throwing them. 3 spears.
Rydle is not doing a lot to dodge them.
This is true.
So 3 out of 3. Nice kill from Horror. So anyway, you stack this tier extremely fast as Nidalee because you're just spamming your abilities to jump in Kuka form as well. So around 20 minutes, you should have it fully stacked. And then it gives you more AP than if you had gone for, let's say, a Rod of Ages, like we've seen Diamond do instead. So that's one of the reasons people do it. And also it allows you to really group up with your Siege comp here with the Lulu and Corki and spam spears, not be relying on having a blue buff because you got that mana regen now from the tier, which of course is going to get upgraded into the Xerath.
Right, and they don't necessarily need a very tankier or at least more sustainable Nidalee in this case that Diamond Procs typically like to build.
Right.
Because they've got the Gnar, they've got the Lulu, they've got the Leona.
Yes.
And they all have either self-preservation or a way to make a target a lot less tasty.
Exactly. They already have a great front line, so it's not going to be Horror dancing around trying to bait people. No, he's going to sit back with the Corki. And he's going to land these spears like we saw onto Rydle, over and over and over.
It's like old Nidalee.
And it simply requires MYM then to use the power spikes properly. You have a very early Trinity Force on your Corki. You have already the tier stacking and the Magus enchant now for your Nidalee. So you can already decide now to start making plays around these two, put them together in a mid lane, just start poking in onto Giants. And you only have to worry about Pepinero and then your 2 flanks. So put a ward on each side of the mid lane so you can see this Jarvan here. Or you can just kill Pepinero as well.
They're going to try. They actually get juked out by the wrong
LeBlanc. Wrong one.
They chase the wrong one, but there is going to be MrRalleZ. Oh, he gets juked again. Can Peppy make the great escape? He's going to flash for it. Noxiak is going to follow and pick up the kill, but for
he
just
got
a second.
2 flashes for that.
Yeah, he did. That was worth.
Dancing around though. We did see MYM very early swap MrRalleZ into this mid lane. We just talked about how you can group when you have Trinity Force already, when you have this build from the Nidalee, you can start grouping and poking. Noxiak again, he's making plays on this Leona. He's the guy walking in with MrRalleZ, land onto Pepinero. Yes, okay, 2 flashes were used, but there was another kill for MeetYourMakers.
Yeah, another kill goes over to their support as well. Dragon now live again as Horo trying to clear out some vision in this. We had a few more wards there that were swapped out for the time being. You can see Frederick actually backs away, so for the time being, MYM actually have control of this if they want to press it, but still, it would be very, very hard to fight against Giants on their own terms as a tower goes down in the bottom side. Slight gold lead here for MeetYourMakers.
And this is a play we haven't seen for MYM all split long. Setting up a dragon before you start it. Normally they just walk in, start the dragon, and then suddenly they get collapsed on from 2 sides and end up dying and losing the fight. In this game right here, few early ward plays, denied the pink ward as well, so you have enough vision now of the right entrances to the river. You can see where the LeBlanc is coming from, and if she's moving towards you, you can now time and say, okay, we have Lulu ulti ready. I'm going to go forward and take the burst. You Lulu ulti me. We win, say we might kill her. So they had information. They started because they saw Giants were not in a position to stop it. Great little play by them. And let's see if they can use this strong Trinity Force Corki to put more pressure on the towers. Only guy they have to watch out for, as we said before, Pepinero. He's the fed guy on Giants.
Yep, so far that has been the lay of things. Pepinero looking to add to that score, but MrRalleZ doesn't take nearly enough damage there. So taking a look at where we're at 15 minutes into the game, and the action has not let up at all. Pepinero looking to go in again. This time he takes a little bit more damage with the Phosphorus Bomb. It is a slight gold lead, about 2,000 in the lead for MeetYourMakers. A dragon apiece to each team, and that 1 tower on the bottom is all that's been taken in those objectives.
Yeah, and MYM now in control with the dragon. Good thing Giants didn't decide to fight for it, as your AD carry needs 5 more minutes on this Ezreal, around 20 minutes, 22 minutes. It's normally where we see the mid-game power coming in when you have a Trinity Force completed and your mana immune, and almost getting that fully stacked. That's where normally we see the Ezreal players stop making plays, so they gave up their dragon as well, or didn't want to risk anything, because you don't want to walk into that Corki with their own Trinity Force on his own. So not too bad from Giants in this case. The problem is still, while you have 2 kills on your LeBlanc, you haven't really managed to shut anything down from MYM, because Lulu is a champion who doesn't really need gold to be super effective. Let me change that. She's a champion who can survive with no gold because she offers so much utility. It does obviously require your carries otherwise to be extremely fed so they can do well, and you can just be more of a support. When it is Lulu mid lane, however, she needs like death cap. She needs to get a Lich Bane late game, so she provides some damage in these fights here, but still, she is a champion who can basically do her role just from her kit. Pushing in, disengaging, that's all she needs.
Not particularly item dependent, it's a little bit more level-wise. However, in terms of survivability, that's very true, but in terms of being able to dish the
damage... In terms of damage, yes,
Horo,
then you need to
This is why Horo's gone for the really huge damage route. You can see he goes ahead and completes the Magus Enchant just for a little bit extra there. He's pretty close to stacking up his tier to max, about 600 out of 750 so far. And Jwaow, though, he could be in some trouble. He's going to hop. Pepinero is going to bail out, not to get hit by the boomerang. Trying to play this out safely, get the assassinations if they can, and then turn the fights in their favor. But so far, MYM have slightly more kills in this regard. Rydle going to flash. He gets the Tibbers on. MrRalleZ, though, was already mid-transit, and he takes the express train out of there.
So what MYM can do now, instead of trying to sieging this mid lane, where Giants clearly are ready for it and have a lot of people around it, you can take your Corki and you put him top lane instead. Because in a one-on-one, he's going to beat the Ezreal. In a one-on-one, he's going to beat the Maokai, which means that he will always be able to push in the wave and get some damage on the tower. Trinity Force, proc this Cheat, poke down the tower slowly on your own, and if Giants want to stop it, they have to go gank him or send 2 guys to defend. And if they send 2 guys to defend on the top lane against the Corki alone, well, suddenly you have a numbers advantage for MYM on the other side of the map where they're going to be 4 guys. They can now invade into the enemy jungle. They can push up the bottom, they can push the mid lane maybe on their own. And that's another way you can play around Corki, and a way we see a lot of Korean teams do. Not just, oh, let's group because we have a Trinity Force and then start pushing in on the tower. Because if there's 4 guys every time from Giants, they might be able to hold off at least for a while and buy more time for the Ezreal. MYM is still doing a good job. I'm not saying it's a bad call at all. It's still fine to push the mid lane. It's more if you really want to try and push that Corki lead against an Ezreal, that's how you can also play it.
That's very true. Let's see what they do going forward. He has Dragons about 2 minutes before it does spawn. You see Frederick Werlyb wanted to get the chase on, but Horo just able to kite away. All the members of MYM and Giants hanging out in this middle. There has been so much action here. It looks like it's going to continue. Kori is going to pop the wild growth that knocks up Pepinero as he moves his way back. But look, we've got a flank going here. Let's see how this one goes, Deficio.
Perfect. Looking for an opening here. Pepinero has no ulti. He needs a few more seconds for that one to be ready. Then he can blow up a target. Kori also used his. That's the important one here, because that's the only defense MYM has against the burst from Pepinero. Remember that Leona pick? Yes, it creates a good front line, and we've seen some great roams. But in kiting team fighting, which is what you normally want to do with this much poke and a Lulu, she doesn't really offer anything.
No, but the Gnar certainly does. They're able to just brute force it down. They've got a couple more minions. Giants really didn't have an opening past that point to be able to do much. And I really got to credit Jwaow and Noxiak's positioning, because they were the only front line in that situation. You said, of course, Kori didn't have his ultimate available, and they played that out quite well to be able to take the tower. So now 2 towers to 0 in favor of MYM. Giants looking to answer back, but they're just not clearing the waves fast enough, and MYM are.
Good wave to an MYM side, but because Kori went bottom lane...
Oh, big solar flare! They're going to start it. Frederick, the Tibbers is down. MrRalleZ is melting. Werlyb is going to get the kill on that one. However, they've lost Frederick and Werlyb on top of it. Jwaow, Gnar, back against the wall goes Adryh, and they're going to try to take him out as he flashes. A spear lands on Rydle in the back. Horo picks up a rampage kill. Adryh, Pepinero trying to bail out. It's a 3 for 2, but they're looking to make it more. Kori flashing forward, picks up Adryh, and it's a 2 for 4 in favor of MeetYourMakers.
So Giants right here, they saw Kori in the bottom lane and decided to push with the 5 guys in the mid lane. Could have just gotten a tower. Instead, they felt like, okay, we can dive this one. We can pick up a few kills, get the tower as well, and get back in this game here, because they're 4K gold behind already. They went for the dive, completely backfired. A lot of kills from MYM, another dragon as well. And that was with Kori being in the bottom lane, running up and just cleaning up 1 kill for himself. Still his ulti and everything, because he wasn't even there.
Yeah, he flashed clear lands to take it out.
Perfect response from MYM, completely punishing Giants.
And then they are routinely able to secure this dragon and get smited down. Let's take a look at how that fight happened again. They clumped up so close.
So basically for Giants, I mean, what I think is going through their mind is, oh, we can push the tower because Kori's in the bottom lane, that's fine. But then they don't expect the engage coming in from MYM because it's only 4 guys. So as soon as the engage happens, they're like, oh, damn, the fight is on. We have to go for this one. And suddenly you forget about that tower right there and you get in a terrible situation. We can see how MYM is cleaning it up. And you'd end up diving too deep too early in the game. And that was a great solo play as well to start the fight. So it wasn't even Giants starting the dive itself. It was more the engage from MYM. And then Giants, as a response, said, okay, well, let's fight. Damn, there's a tower. We're not strong enough. We're going to die.
Pretty much open and shut case in that situation. It's got them down 5,000 gold. You see that 2 dragons to 1, 2 towers to 0. MeetYourMakers, they're leading this game. And man, on your screen there just a moment ago, Noxiak, he's been a big part of it.
Yes, fantastic roams from him. And we just saw how MYM were happy giving up a lane, or giving a lane to the Maokai and just say, you can sit in the bottom with our Corki until we get a Trinity Force. That's okay for us. We don't care about you getting farm. And then allow us to roam to the mid lane, where we just saw all the action. Rydle was there, Noxiak was there, and now another one onto the Annie.
Yet again, and look at the damage that they have. Horo, his 5th kill. He's 5-0-2 now. He's got the Seraphs completed. He is dishing out so much damage, enabled by Noxiak with the lockdown, and they pick up another isolated kill.
I mean, he's sitting on 300 AP already from Horo. You get that tier on your first back. When you have a Hunter's Machete, you just get the tier. If that's the only thing you can afford, it's fine. Because you stack it so fast, and we can see 20 minutes in, fully stacked up for him. He has the shield, he has the extra AP, there's enough mana to start poking and really playing aggressive. And of course, another engage from Noxiak. Rydle, if you don't flash it instantly, well, you will die after. You're not going to survive the whole combo from Leona and the rest of MYM. And Frederick now taking quite a lot of damage. I like this, MeetYourMakers. They keep playing aggressive. Oh! He got him as well.
Okay. Kori grabs that one for himself. So Frederick going down, burning down, I should say. MeetYourMakers, they're not going to push super hard into this one just yet, but I mean, they're starting to go on a roll, Deficio.
They are. They got all the auto turrets down. Jwaow pushing one lane. The other 4 guys together in the mid lane pushing it up. We have a lot of poke. A good wave clear. Good disengage with the Lulu as well. And as long as you keep the wards at least on one side of the enemy jungle, in this case it's on the top side for MeetYourMakers, you can stay near that side and you should always be able to spot when the Maokai or the Jarvan is trying to flank around you, or when the Annie is trying to flash tip at you.
Yes, indeed.
And just get out of it.
Well, MeetYourMakers, they are starting to push forward in this one. We'll see how this does go. So far, their engages, they've been taking 5v4s and 3v2s and all sorts of number advantages just because they've been able to pick off targets. All thanks to Horo, who's having the game of his life right now, honestly.
It just feels like we don't know with the shot calling for MYM who's doing it, or if there's anything changed with this support switch here, but it just seems like they have more of a clear direction of what they should do. In terms of, okay, our Leona has found a target, I'm gonna engage, and everyone on the team's like, right, we're ready, we're here, we will join in, and we pick up a kill. Every single time Noxiak has gone in, rest of MYM has been there to respond. A thing we didn't see beforehand, where it would be very messy. One guy would go in, one guy would back away, and suddenly that guy would just be left to die on his own. And there was some clear synergy problems. And I did hear Kori say, I can't remember if it was on Twitter or his Ask FM, that he felt like the scrims had gone really well this week, and there was a lot more confidence for the team going into this week.
Well, certainly not without reason, or not without no reason at least. They're playing quite well in this situation. Giants, to their credit, you know, they've been fighting back, but it just seems like they're letting the game get dictated to them, and that's not how you want to play against a team like MeetYourMakers here. Horo on this 5-0-3 Nidalee, just still continually hunting down kills, cleaning up when he can. Adryh, ooh, nearly eats another spear there, and it's just, it plays so much like old Nidalee. It's so dangerous when you get that low. And now with the gap close on the W, it just becomes really, really difficult to avoid being picked off.
As long as MYM can always see where Giants is on the map, and again, avoid getting flanked by Jarvan Maokai combo, avoid the Annie walking up and throwing a Tibbers in the face of your Nidalee, then they can keep poking and play this combo. And that's why they should now, after the dragon is gone, because that's going to be the first target. They got 2 dragons already. They might go for this 5th dragon win condition thing we see from some teams when they don't feel too confident closing out. But after the dragon is gone, you push one lane. Oh, let's see Horo.
Yep, he's going to try to punish Horo. Oh! True Shot Barrage comes in, but it's going to be Pepinero getting the kill, and his clone actually gets taken out as the teleport now comes in. Werlyb is going to make them back off of this one, so they do take down Horo once, and his deathless streak here. Shutdown goal definitely needed, and Pepinero gets that funnel straight to him.
Still all about Pepinero for Giants. Good setup and nice ulti coming in from Adryh to support.
Gotta be careful, they haven't taken the crab yet either.
10 seconds on Horo here, so he will be back for the dragon, but Giants should have control of the area, as he already placed a few wards for themselves. Needed 2 wards behind the dragon pit as well, near the jungle of MYM, so they can see it in Italy, throwing spears over the wall. Seems like they want to use this chance to back away. Allowing MYM now to go back into the dragon, clear that pink ward that has just been placed, and give up all the control you just established by getting that 1 kill.
Yeah, they were a little bit low, and they didn't feel like they could keep it around there, but they all backed away. So yeah, MYM has a chance. They're moving for it too, and you know, Dragons, they're 3 seconds away. They're sweeping. They're not going to find the ward right there, but they should be able to just start this one up. Scuttlecrabber, no. It's going to go down pretty quickly if they do proc it, and they do. However, Giants in hot pursuit can MeetYourMakers clear this one out in time. They've grouped up. Here comes the true shot barrage. It's going to clip the Dragon, or just barely. It does go down. MrRalleZ picks this one up. They're still getting out so far.
Giants should not have given up this Dragon here. They got the kill. They set up the wards. Just have your LeBlanc recall. She's the only one really low, and that's it. Rest can stay and defend. Yes, you will get a mid tower, but it's now 3 Dragons for MYM. This 5th Dragon is suddenly going to be a problem, so you are now forced to make plays. You got your more mana already on the Ezreal. You are strong enough to fight at this point. And again, you had the wards already set up. You could wait there for MYM to come in, and then you could push them back. Instead, they left the area, allowed MeetYourMakers to set up their own wards, and just take a Dragon for free. I don't think that was the right call by Giants.
Yeah, it was a little bit awkward there, and it gave up so much. Yes, they got the tower, but then again, that was their first of the game. They'd already given up all their outers to MeetYourMakers. I mean, they needed something, but honestly, the Dragon buff's certainly going to help, and now you've given up that extra mobility to MeetYourMakers. Exactly. It's going to be even harder to try to get an angle on them.
And we always have this argument here, okay, what's best, Dragon or tower, the gold or the buff? Well, the thing is, when you have 3 Dragons, or when you get to 3 Dragons and you start getting closer and closer to that 5th one, then the Dragon gets a lot more value, just because there's this ticking time bomb thing going on, where if Giants doesn't manage to get a lead and deny the next Dragon, then they're suddenly going to be in massive trouble. So MYM were fine trading the mid tower for that Dragon here on their side. And again, Pepinero, as soon as you got the kill, you push them back from the Dragon, you recall, and you return there in time to fight for it on even terms. Anyway, Jwaow, a lot of damage on the Frederick.
Yeah, Frederick having to actually flag and drag away as Jwaow gets very close to the Gnar form. There he goes, popping it right now. Meanwhile, in the mid, MrRalleZ and Pepinero. Here comes Peppy. He's going to back away immediately. He sees Jwaow. Doesn't see Horo, but he's still there. And now Noxiak on the roam as well. They're pinging out the Baron. However, this is still very dangerous. If Giants do retaliate, they've got a moment to get back.
I would like to see home guards on Werlyb, because for him to properly engage onto MYM with the Lulu trying to kite back and the Gnar slow as well, then he's going to need something special. Get a home guard, you teleport in on a ward on the flank, behind them, whatever it is, and you just rush toward whatever target you need. You lock them down, and then you have the follow-up of a Jarvan, of an Ezreal ulti to snipe the back line, of the LeBlanc jumping in. That's how you can start the fights. If you feel like you're not getting that opening, maybe Pepinero is going to be the guy to do it. This was not the case, though, and it's a thing we also see in so many other regions. You get early home guards on the likes of Maokai, Hecarim top lane, we've seen a lot, and it simply allows you to really engage fights from far away and get this surprise factor when you teleport in.
Yeah, the Righteous Glory will help a little bit with that, but I agree. I feel like they need a little bit more speed up to be able to take on this incredibly mobile team right now. They're still about 4,500 gold down over MeetYourMakers, and it's just because they keep allowing themselves to get picked off and cleaned up in these situations. And now, with as powerful as MYM are, it's going to be hard for Giants to fight this unless they do get the perfect flank.
Basically, an MYM on their side, Jwaow should get a greater stealth totem instead of his sweeping Lenzi, because they don't have a sidestone on their jungler. They don't have a sidestone on their support. You'd never get sidestone on jungle Nidalee, so that means you will lag behind in terms of vision control compared to Giants, but you can also just engage on Rydle.
Yep, you can. You can throw the spear in as well. He's going to flash, but he runs straight into Kori, and they take him out. Another spear going to connect on Werlyb. There's no tower there. Oh, so much damage, and the big Nidalee jumping on top of Werlyb. Noxiak's going to get in as well. Vengeful Maelstrom, they're just tanking it up anyways. MrRalleZ coming up with that kill on Werlyb as Pepinero is bailing out. Meanwhile, Adryh, Frederick trying to take advantage in the middle, but Jwaow is still there for the defense, and he's got so much damage on this Gnar.
Good setup again by MYM.
Oh, Peppy! Wow. Okay, he still got it.
Yeah. Remember, the LeBlanc is the fed member from Giants. 4 kills now for Pepinero. He's the only guy doing really well for them and really the damage threat. Adryh gonna try and clear the wave on the top side. Pepinero has no ulti for a few more seconds. You want to get that one ready before he goes for another snipe. MrRalleZ should be ready for it.
And no element of surprise. That time the tower goes down. Frederick with the Cataclysm. Kori is going to zoom his way out of there along with Noxiak and MrRalleZ. So they take out another tower. 4-1 is your scoreline.
I really like that setup though by MYM. They send 4 guys to the top lane, as we're going to see here. Look at your minimap. And then Jwaow, instead of him trying to run up and help them or TP or anything, he goes straight to the mid lane, realizing there's a high chance of Giants pushing that one down after, because they're already going to win this fight. Rydle, not the first time he doesn't flash the ulti from a Leona. He gets stunned first, gets chunked down, and then it's too late for him to get away. Werlyb dies. And notice here, look at your minimap. Jwaow saying, okay, I'm not needed at all. I'm going to go straight mid lane instead, defend this push here coming from Giants so we can stay in the top lane pushing in and we don't have to give up any towers for no reason.
He was able to make the defense quite nicely, so 40 seconds or so until the dragon respawns again. Giants clear out the Scuttle Crab. They're hanging around in this bottom side, but now you can see Frederick, he's the one backing away. Giants moving to try and push the way back from middle. They have a lot of wards here, but this still gives another chance for MYM to come in and clear them out. Exactly.
30 seconds for the dragon. Everyone is backed away. No home guards either for Werlyb, so that could be the setup. You trap MYM to walk in and start clearing the wards, and then you TP down on one of them with the home guard, and that's how you can start the fight. You need Pepinero now to sit around the dragon itself when you know MYM is going for the 4th dragon of the game, or 5th one in this case of the game, but the 4th for MYM. Then you need your LeBlanc to sit ready when they walk in to clear the ward so she can start looking for a pick. If MYM suddenly is uncoordinated, let's say Lulu walks in first by any chance, you just blow her up, that's it, dragon is yours. Instead, Pepinero again, he goes back to the mid lane. He shows himself on the minion wave, so there's full vision and information for MYM saying there's no risk now. There's no chance of LeBlanc destroying us because we can see her farm the mid wave, and therefore they can walk into the dragon again, clear the wards, and get control, which they shouldn't be able to when you have this strong of a LeBlanc.
Yeah, they're going to try to reward this one up, but they've not gone ahead and cleared any of it out, so MYM, again, they were able to get in there and take it away. They weren't able to keep it going, and now Pepinero, he takes a spear, has got to think twice about stepping into that one. MYM showing their muscles here. Frederick, Noxiak follows him a little bit too late after the fact. Still, MYM now in prime position to try and start off this dragon, trying to use up the Mega Gnar as it goes. A tower is taken to the top by minions, but Werlyb sees the chance to strike. He goes in. The Cataclysm is thrown down. Jwaow hopping away from it. The spear's going to fly. Frederick is going to pull a shutdown onto Kori, but Rydle is evaporating after the fact. Jwaow in the front, taking up all the damage. The fight is going crazy. Horo will finally go down. It's only MrRalleZ remaining. The Giants have come up with the win in this fight.
That was the first time we got to see Giants really engaging onto MYM from the flank. We saw the Maokai, the Jarvan, they dived onto the back line of MeetYourMakers. They stayed there, they tanked all the damage, allowing now the carries to come in and clean up. Let's see it again. This is such a good engage from Giants. Finally, they can get the right one. Everyone is clumped together from MYM. They're only hitting Frederick and Werlyb, the 2 tanks. Now suddenly, Frederick backs out. There's an opening for MYM. They go for it, but Pepinero joining the fight together with Adryh, who's left completely untouched. And then Giants can finally win it. And we got to see why this Maokai Jarvan is such a good combo when you can get the right engage, especially onto the back line. Because there was nothing MYM could do to kill these 2 big tanks in time before Adryh and Pepinero could do the same to them.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned Adryh and Pepinero, because specifically it wasn't, up until this point, it was pretty much Pepinero that was the Fed member, the one we could keep referring to as the one they were funneling the gold into. But now Adryh's really started to scale up. He's hit a really massive 4-item power spike. He's got a lot of damage, and again, he's not being touched. Whoa! You can see that two-shot barrage nearly steals the blue buff away as it happens.
But this really is going to be a big problem for MeetYourMakers now, because they're still sitting on 3 sweeping lanes, 1 oracle, only 1 side stone on the jungler. Oh, sorry, on your support. Your jungler is maxed out on items at the moment. You still have a Dawn Splitter in your top lane, so there's no wards from him. You have a Dawn Splitter in your AD carry, there's no wards for him. You basically only have 5 wards to play with right now, with the 1 for Kori. Against double Stealth Totem from Giants. Side stone as well for both jungler and support. There's so much more vision for Giants to play around. They're going for Noxiak as well. They'll get him.
And they have enough damage to just polish him off. Kori now was caught out after the fact. Rydle goes down in all the confusion as well. It is actually a support for support trade, but Frederick waiting in the wings. See if Horo goes too far forward. Flag and drag in. Looks for MrRalleZ. Turns his attention to Horo. Spites down. Werlyb's in some trouble, but here comes Adryh. MrRalleZ is going to come up with a kill, and it's going to be a double as he takes down Werlyb. They didn't quite have the damage, and Peppy wasn't there either. Altogether, a 1 for 4, but it was all over the map, and Peppy really close to taking the last shot of the rocket. Kori still on the chase. Giants, they just seem to be a little over-eager here still, Deficio.
Well, that turned into a bit of a fight. I thought it was just going to be a quick pick on the Leona and then Giants would back away, but everyone just came in there. MYM managed to respond this time around. And Baron has been started. There's teleport for Werlyb, but he needs 15 seconds, so he won't be up in time. There should be a Baron for MeetYourMakers, and suddenly, despite being in a bit of a disadvantage in terms of the map control, the vision control, losing the last dragon, they suddenly turn it around again, win a fight, get Baron.
Yeah, so MeetYourMakers.
It's been an explosive game. A lot of things really happening here.
They turn it around again this time. So, you know, again, it's been about 37 minutes on this game. We've had a lot of action all across the map, but a lot of it has centered or started around the mid lane. Even now, it's just been where the two teams want to push up and out. And between all the dragons that have been taken, it's mostly been after the fights. The Baron going down now in favor of MYM. They have a chance to push out the side lanes and really make life hard for Giants Gaming. Let's see what they do.
Yeah, they still have great poke on their side. It just becomes harder and harder to avoid Giants engaging with these big tanks. And oh, Kori!
Oh!
See ya.
Yep, okay, so there's one Baron buff popped. Giants still able to collapse.
But that is really the Giant style right here. Oh, you have Baron? We don't care. We're gonna walk into your jungle, sit at your red buff, and you won't expect us to be there. You saw Kori just run. He was gonna go down to the bottom lane because there was a big wave. He's like, okay, I'm gonna go down and defend this one. Oh, they're waiting at my red buff and just killed me.
No one expects the Spanish Inquisition, Deficio.
Nobody indeed.
So now, pushing on this bottom tower, there may be some Baron and powered minions, but again, Giants just don't care. Dodging out the spears or so, they think Adryh does intercept the edge of it. Rydle, he's the one who's caught with the Solar Flare. Gnar back against the wall. Jwaow, MrRalleZ is coming up with the kill. Noxiak, however, is going to go down. Kori, as you mentioned, was all ready. So even in a 4v5 fight under tower, they're able to push Giants Gaming back once again.
Trading 1-for-1 there. Pepinero, he's not done though. Place the pink ward in this bush. Ulti is ready for him, of course. Let's see if anyone wants to face check this jungle. I don't think after Kori died beforehand, they probably realize
there might be a LeBlanc
like to stay on. They're pinging on it. Look at Jwaow. He's moving in Kori as well.
Oh, they actually turned their attention up top. Jwaow, he's going to be in some trouble. However, he's not Gnar. He's just big. At this point, Frederick taking a lot of damage. Adryh trying to bail out. They don't have enough there. And it's going to be taken down. Pepinero with a sliver of health will make his escape as well.
That was pinged out by MYM. Expecting Giants to wait. I'm not sure if they had any awards to spot them moving in, but at least they were pinging on it, and we saw Jwaow be the guy to go in first. Stole the tanky Gnar, ends up staying alive, gets a kill as well. But them Dragon, 55 seconds. Still a win condition for MYM if they want it, to go towards the 5th Dragon or 5 Dragons. For them, they are setting up now. Double ping already. No sign of Giants nearby, except for Pepinero trying to do a blue buff. That should be stopped fairly easily by Noxiak here.
Yeah, Noxiak has just been all over this map all game long. You can see now they're going to be able to collapse on this one. Horo should be the one who takes it down. He does. 30 seconds till the Drake does respawn. Giants Gaming have some work to do to clear out the middle. Epi trying to distract as he can. He's going to distort away before Noxiak can land the Zenith Blade on him, but so mobile, so hefty on the damage. MYM, you cannot mess with this team. You cannot get caught out.
A lot of squishy members for them, and if Kori's not there with his ulti, then nobody's gonna save you. From the mighty Pepinero.
Oh,
well,
Solar Flare.
Rydle again.
He's not
this time.
Zenith Blade this time around. He wasn't terribly out of position. All the same, they accomplished the goal of pushing them away, pushing Giants Gaming away, except for Pepinero, who's waiting around the side in the wings. Let's see if Giants can get this collapse.
And there's no ulti now for MYM's Leona, which basically means their engage is gone unless you speed up a Gnar and have him jump in, but then he needs to get Mega Gnar, time it correctly, and Giants needs to be in a bad position where he can get to them. Instead, Giants defending their wards this time, going for Noxiak. He's a pretty tanky target though, but this is a nice
there we go, turn their attention. There's the Zanya's Hourglass as Frederick pops a couple in the pit. Werlyb in the middle, just trying to push everyone back with the Mega Gnar timing. Jwaow is gonna net him a kill, and a double onto Adryh. Giants starting to evaporate here. They lose 3 for only Noxiak as Horo picks up another kill, and that is going to be Dragon number 4 for MeetYourMakers.
And Noxiak managed to basically zone away 2 or 3 guys from Giants. Pepinero used everything on him, the support, so he wasn't there to dive the back line. And then once we see the replay, Adryh thought he could snipe out MrRalleZ. That was the true shot barrage, and then he jumped over the wall after. MrRalleZ got to safety, and they just turned around and killed the Ezreal instead. And Pepinero didn't manage to have any impact in that fight alone, except for 1 kill onto the support.
Oh yes, indeed. Now Peppy, can he be the hero that Giants needs? Looks like he's not interested in defending this inhibitor turret or this inhibitor. Frederick made a show of it, but in the end he turns tail and runs. First inhibitor of the game, 41.5 minutes in. It is going over to MeetYourMakers. Let's see how that fight happened again.
Yeah, so notice how now 3 guys from Giants around the Leona. We're gonna see how Rydle says, okay, I don't care about this support. I'm gonna flash tables on 2 guys. That's perfect. You get the Lulu, you get the Nidalee. But now, notice how Noxiak on this Leona is just standing near Pepinero, 3 guys on him, while Adryh jumps the wall, realizes, oh damn, I'm all alone here. I'm not gonna do anything, and MYM just turn around and kill him easily, only losing that support who was zoning 3 people on her own, meaning MYM wins the fight. Gets the 4th dragon for them, got an inhibitor as well. They're looking to beat Giants and close in on Giants in the standings as well. Remember, MYM has 2 wins. Giants has 4 wins at this point.
And this will tie, if they do get this win, it'll tie the head-to-head.
It will.
Because Giants did take that first one back in week 1, so we'll see how this one goes. But MYM, I mean, really, they are looking good in this one. It's not just Giants making mistakes. They are rotating around the map. They're taking the objectives they need. Yes, they've been given a lot of openings by Giants, but they've correctly played them out. They've established the control where they need to. And this is why they're 2 dragons ahead. This is why they have a 9,000 gold lead. And this is why they're winning fights.
They were better roaming early on, for sure. They've been better setting up dragons as well, which is why they have the 4 dragons on their side. We saw the early towers going down. They really used the Corki, Nidalee to at least poke away, and then Leona coming in for the pick. So yes, MYM has made some good plays. They still make it a little bit harder for themselves because they don't want to invest into any extra vision here, so it's very risky for them to suddenly push up because there's such a high chance of Giants moving around them. We saw Giants...
Unless they get the ace, of course.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
But we saw Giants at that 1 dragon. What happens if they get the engage onto the backline of MYM? Then suddenly Maokai and Jarvan is standing there saying, yeah, you're not going to kill us in time. You're going to lose this fight no matter what. And that's what happens, and why MYM is saying we cannot risk walking blind into the enemy jungle. We have to always respect where you are, but we don't have the tools to get that information and always see where you are.
And Giants, on the other hand, they've been the team that's not been afraid to scrap in any situation. And it's worked out for them, I would say, earlier in the game. But right now, just the last couple have not been so effective, as they do get zoned out quite a lot by Noxiak, quite a lot by Jwaow, and the Gnar timing has been particularly good for MeetYourMakers, but not so good for Giants. They're not respecting that Mega Gnar. No,
Jwaow has had a pretty good game for himself. Aurelia was, of course, banned because he managed to beat Unicorns a lot on it last week. Really a standout performance from him. And he's come into MYM and shown some new life, honestly. He's been good in this top lane. We obviously knew when he played on Gamers 2 that Jwaow was a carry top laner. He's not the guy who supports his team. No, he's the guy who wants to win the game for you. Yeah, he's been a good pickup for them. Same can be said for Noxiak in his first game at least. It's been a good start for him.
Look at this. Baron getting started up by MeetYourMakers. Giants are not moving to defend this. There's just a whole bunch of Nidalee traps here just to try and deter him away, and the rest, and it goes down very quickly now. Noxiak in the front. He's going to throw the Solar Flare down. It doesn't connect on anyone, but they found Werlyb, and with the help of the super minions and the Baron-empowered minions, they're pushing him away. Giants realize that they gave up so much as he flashes across the wall to save himself. No inhibitor in this middle, but MeetYourMakers is hellbent on pushing on forward, but here comes Pepinero. Can he go and get the assassination? No. He jumps the wall. Actually, just a juke. Now they're going up to the top.
Stay alive, yeah.
Okay.
All right, so ulti was used on to Rydle here. That's why he flashed away this time around. We keep seeing it every single fight. MYM trying to start it by locking down Annie, so she won't be able to like flash tables on their backline. Instead, they want to kill her first and just CC her to death. Pepinero, though, at the base gate.
The siege begins.
A lot of minions here coming.
Yeah, there is Pepinero. He's going to look for the damage on Kori. Takes down most of his health bar, but not enough to 100 to 0 him. That is why you pick up the Lulu in this situation. Werlyb, oh, he's getting flanked by Frederick, but his health bar is not looking too hot, and he goes down thanks to Horo. The Solar Flare is going to land. The Zenith Blade, they find a double onto Rydle. Werlyb now starting to evaporate. Noxiak gives his life for the team here. Another turret is going down. A big push against the rest of the members of Giants Gaming. They're just going down all across the board. 4 kills, 2-1. MeetYourMakers is looking to end the game.
It's They're not giving up without a fight here in the EU LCS. This is such an important win for them, gives them a chance to get out of that relegation zone.
Yeah, they have to finish it off, but they've just gotten on the Bear Nexus. It looks like they're going to do it. 46.5 minutes in, MeetYourMakers, their LCS dreams are still alive.
For sure here, they can be happy, honestly, about this win. That was a well-played game for them, especially in terms of the team fighting. And Noxiak here, the man on your screen on Leona. Great roams early. A lot of engages onto Rydle, so either he hits Rydle or he hits Kits. I'm not sure which one it is, but it was onto that Annie every single time, and he managed to kill him so many times. 10 deaths from Rydle in this game. 0, 10, 7, and 9 of them was basically solo flare in your face and you're dead.
Yeah, that's exactly what they needed to do at the end of it. I mean, that is playing the comp that you built. That is the way to play the comp, and that is what MeetYourMakers had been lacking most of this split. So they were able to take it, and you can see some smiles on their faces this time around as they pick up that crucial win.
It is definitely not over yet.
No, but not out of the woods.
No, for sure. I mean, there's a lot more.
But that was definitely the start of something, and for Giants...
They had to win this one. Yeah. They had to win this game here. Otherwise, Giants would have been 2-0 in the tiebreaker, would have been 3 wins ahead of them as well. They would have been nearly impossible to catch them. Next up for MYM, or I'm not sure if it's today or tomorrow they're playing them, but they're going to face Rocket fairly soon as well. That's the other team sitting just above them in the standings. If they win that one, suddenly they might pull out of this number 10 spot. And there again, smiles for the team.
But, you know, on the other hand, Giants, this was a must-win for them too.
Sure.
And based on what happened, it wasn't just losing to MeetYourMakers, but the fashion in which they did lose it. I mean, that's troubling for them. And, you know, again, we always heard from the beginning they wanted to be a team that stayed in the LCS. They wanted to be a team that, at the very least, could compete on that level. And that, I feel like that game was a little uncharacteristic of them. Not in what they tried to do, but their execution. It just wasn't up to par.
No, I agree 100%. Or a major part of why they lost was simply not knowing how to take any advantage MYM is giving you and use it. If you get a pick and Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds, you walk down, you ward up that Dragon, and yes, okay, if you have a guy who needs to recall, let him do it, he can return that in time. And then you sit there and you now have the control, so you defend it. And that's what you fight around. You don't just back away, allow them to set up the Dragon itself, and then you walk in to engage them and you get in a bad situation, you lose the Dragon. Like, that was a big mistake from them. They had to wait for this Ezreal to hit his like 20-minute point with the Man Immune and Trinity Force, and they did. But once they hit it, they didn't use it. They had one good fight, and that was around that Dragon itself where they got the flank with the Maokai, with the Jwaow. That was the highlight for them, and then of course Pepinero on this LeBlanc, getting a few kills early on.
Getting picks, crucially.
Getting picks, yes.
But they didn't have enough follow-up in fights, and every single time they did fight, they focused on Noxiak because he was the one most far forward. And it didn't seem to really work out for them. So, I mean, a lot of questions remaining. Now, that's enough for us. Let's take a look at that match, handing it off to our crack team at the analyst.